Hey, what's up everybody? In this video we're going to be looking at the new iPhone. I recently purchased this and just wanted to give you a visual on kind of what this looks and what the size is. Now I'll put a link in the description below if you're interested in picking up this exact model that I'm looking at right now and go over some of its, I think, some of the coolest features, and also be showing you a cover that I really like for it, a protective cover. Because all this is kind of hard to see online, at least when you visit your respective carrier store, and also obviously like on Amazon it's hard to figure out what cover might be the best. So anyway, here it is out of the box, brand new. It of course comes equipped with a SIM card pin. You saw that metal pin just a second ago. It also obviously has your USB adapter for power and cord, and also headphones. Now note this iPhone does not have a traditional 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. Instead, you'll be plugging your headphones into where the power cord plug is at the bottom there. So let's go ahead and peel this protective liner off. And again, you're just going to get a sense for the size of this particular iPhone, and just kind of what it looks like and how thin it is. I opted for the black iPhone, as you can obviously tell, and it is indeed black on all sides. It does not have a silver backing like some previous iPhone models do, but super thin profile, and it's weighty, so it feels like it's heavy quality, or high quality, I should say, and just an overall sleek, really trim looking design. Glossy, obviously, you can see the reflection from the phone there, not unlike previous iPhone models. And we'll zoom in to the camera there. You can see now this one does have portrait mode, which is one of the biggest reasons why I bought this phone. I really love the portrait mode on this thing, but I'll explain that and show you actually what that portrait mode looks like very soon. So stay with me here. Just kind of going over, there's the power button on the right, you can see. Obviously it has a front-facing camera lens, so you can take selfies and whatnot, and a single home button here. It does have a fingerprint reader on it. I'll show you how that works, and of course the volume to the left and the right, along with the vibrate toggle switch. So here it is again, a bird's eye view, and we are going to be powering this on. And to do so, you just hold it down for several seconds. There it goes. And take a look how quickly this thing boots up. This is in real time, so I have not edited this video in any way. And this is the first time the unit has been powered on ever, right out of the box, like I said. So a pretty quick power up. Obviously it has your setup options here. So click your language and your origin, country of origin. And you can obviously read the instructions and follow those as you want. Now right off the bat, it's going to ask you to connect to a Wi-Fi so it can get your settings all finalized, and you'll have to accept, of course, Apple's lovely terms and conditions. Now this, like I mentioned earlier, has a fingerprint reader, so here's what the process looks like. You'll have to train it to recognize your fingerprint from all angles, because when you're out and about walking, of course, you might put your thumb on the fingerprint reader at a various angle and you want that to recognize it. So it does a really good job. It asks you several times to put your finger on, so it's just getting different readings and different kind of angles of your thumb each time, and it's going to store all that so that there won't be any issue in the future when you go to activate the finger recognition, or the fingerprint recognition there. So I was really impressed with that. It took a good minute or so, but I'd rather spend the time doing that now up front versus inaccurate thumb readings at a later time, right? Okay, so now that that's complete, we will continue on. Now obviously you can set up a passcode. We'll skip over that there, but I did enter a passcode, and then you have the option to import your settings from a previous phone or whatnot. And of course, more terms to accept. All right, so we'll let this do its thing. Now, right out of the box, while I continue setting this up, right out of the box, I noticed that the battery was not completely full charge. I imagine it's been, sitting for several weeks or whatnot on the assembly line or in transit. But it did come pretty well powered up. That's about 85%, 80% I would guess. So that's nice. I didn't have to plug it in right out of the box. I could just turn it on and it was ready to go. So you'll obviously set up your wallet and your Siri. I'm going to do that later so as to not bore you completely, but you can obviously follow all those setup instructions and set your phone to the exact custom settings that you want. All right, I'm going to fast forward just a little bit. Toward the end there, you're going to get this option called haptic, and the home button does have a slight, it's not a vibration, but a very small um, ever so delicate movement. So basically your 1 will have a very, very slight movement when you press that home button, and a 3 is a little heavier. Again, it's not a vibration, just a very slight movement. And that's it. Setup is super easy. From there, you can obviously go about installing your various apps and whatnot. And everything seems to be working really well so far. So let's go ahead and continue. Let's get the camera function going for you so you can take a look at what this what kind of pictures this takes. Now, I absolutely love the portrait mode on this thing. Obviously, it has slow motion and obviously a video camera, panoramic view, but the portrait mode is indeed the coolest mode. So let's go ahead and click continue, and we'll slide it over to portrait. And we're going to actually get a volunteer here in my house. We're going to, instead of taking a portrait of the carpeted floor there and the box, we're going to call over my trusty friend here, my dog. And he doesn't know it, but he is going to have his picture taken right now. I promise this is not a statue, it is a real dog. I'll get him to move here in just a second. But here we go. And what that does is the portrait mode blurs out the background, creating depth between the foreground and what's behind. And you can see how clear that foreground is of the dog, and the background is indeed blurred quite a bit in the picture. All right, so he is a real dog. Here's a better look at the image. All right, and of course your iPhone does a lot of other things, much more than I can possibly cover in this video. But of course it has your standard browser. You can obviously download Firefox or a different browser if you're not happy with the standard browser, but the speed here is pretty amazing. I'm immediately impressed. I'm coming from a model of iPhone that's several years older, and so definitely has an increased speed capability built into this one, so that's awesome. All right, another really great feature about this iPhone, it has built in a measurement tool. I'm a bit of a handyman, so I always have my phone with me, and so why not build in a measurement tool? So here's how it works. You open the app, and you can literally point and click with the measurements here. Now this is measuring my countertop 3 feet 7 inches deep. Now that to me is just one of the coolest features ever. I don't know how it's able to discern real depth there. So you can take simultaneously all kinds of measurements, which is again, pretty neat. It also has a built-in level, so again, if you're out in the garage or somewhere and you need to check if you're hanging a picture frame, you can take your phone and just make sure that surface is indeed level. So going back to the phone here, you can see it comes, as I mentioned, with a SIM card pin where you can eject your SIM card. So you'll need to obviously activate this. So please contact your carrier for instructions on how to do this. But in this video, I'll just show you how you can easily pop out the SIM card using this little tool. You could also potentially use a paper clip if you don't have this. So to do so, you'll just very delicately just kind of put that in the little hole there and push in. And what's going to happen, of course, this little tray will pop out. There we go. And it just ever so slightly comes up, and you can reach down and then of course grab that. There's a better look right there for you. And there it is. So I'm going to take out the SIM card from my old phone, and I'm going to transfer that into the SIM card holder for my new phone. As you can see here, this is it going in. And you can just use your finger. You do not need to get the tool out, that little SIM card removal tool out when you're putting it back in. So it should be flush, and you know that it's inserted. You can power it on, or whatever the processes are that your carrier tell you to do. So again, check with your carrier to make sure you are following the correct instructions to deactivate your old phone and get your new one powered up appropriately. And the last step that I'll show you in this video is finding a case, a protective case that fits really well to this particular iPhone. Now, I know online there's a lot of different options out there. This is one that I particularly like. It's got a really nice tacky grip that's classy, I think, really sharp looking. I'll put a link in the description below for this particular case if you're interested. And we'll just get some various shots here. So I'm going to go silent for a little bit on and off while you can just get a visual and inspect it to make sure that you can see all angles, really, because that's one of the downsides from other videos that I've seen, or you know, obviously on Amazon looking at these various cases. You don't really know exactly what it looks like in real with the real eye. So this is it. Obviously, it has the cutouts for the power cord and the camera there. And take a look at the camera cutout. When you put your phone in, your camera lens will actually be recessed a little bit so that when you put your camera face down, it does not, the ground or the surface does not make contact with your camera lens. So that was a nice feature. We'll get a better look at that here in a second. So let's go ahead and slip the phone inside the protective case. And notice I'm doing this with one hand. So it just kind of slips on there. It's a nice kind of rubberized, siliconized, tacky grip that bends, but also it looks sleek, but it's not slippery, right? It is indeed tacky. There's a better look at the camera, recessed a little bit. So in other words, the cover does extend out beyond the camera, so that's nice. There's a great shot right there for you. And again, it doesn't add much thickness to the phone itself, which is what you want, right? You don't want to feel like you have this big monster thing in your back pocket or in your purse. You want to that's the allure of the iPhone, right? It's sleek, it's really slim in design, and so this cover, I think, kind of maintains that. It's got the speaker cutouts, as I mentioned before. Again, notice there's no 3.5 millimeter jack for your headphones, but I'm okay with that. It's got Bluetooth connectivity, obviously, for headphones, and it does come equipped with a basic pair of headphones. Doesn't add much weight to the iPhone at all. Can't really tell a difference. So I'm just feeling it, making sure it doesn't slip. Again, it has a great grip to it. All right, so that's about it. Thank you so much. I hope this video has been helpful for you. If it was, do me a favor. I'd really appreciate it. Click the subscribe button and enjoy your new iPhone.